Hey guys, what's up? It's Matt with 86, and today I'm taking a look at the K596, which is a Redragon keyboard. Looks a lot like the K587, very similar. They look very similar. So if you've seen the K587, this is very much like that in appearance and likely construction quality as well. I have not, again, personally used the 587. Overall construction quality of this keyboard is pretty on point, and I like that a lot because it seems to be, while it's mostly plastic construction, it seems to be very well done, and it's got a hefty amount of weight to it. Check out the weights right here. This specific 10 keyless keyboard comes with a little extra keys to it. On the left hand side you have mechanical keys 1 through 5 for G's 1 through 5. These are macroable gaming programmable keys that you can put other things on, hotkeys if you will. On the top are smaller, slimmer membrane keys that are capable of doing your 6 through 10. This offers you a few extra options in big games, like big MMO games, in which you might want to have something programmed on the side. That way you're not having to rely on a hefty mouse with a lot of buttons on it, which could be a fun possibility also. The switches they use in this particular one are red Otemu switches. Very similar to Cherry MX Red, they are cross-stem switches, and they're braced cross-stem switches, which help to kind of alleviate some of the wobble that we see on some mechanical keyboards. The switches are also swappable. They're 2-pin Otemu switches, so if you wanted to replace them with other 2-pin Otemu switches, you could do that. And Redragon, in true Redragon fashion, sends you a small package to try, where you can test out the different switches you want, from black, blue, and red, and even brown, I believe. Rubber feet on the bottom of the keyboard do an adequate job at both being risers and holding the desk if you like it flat. There's also rubber feet on the bottom of the magnetic wrist rest, which is also really cool. The magnetic wrist rest has rotatable pieces that connect to each other, and for the most part lines up really easily, and is pretty easy to pull off if you don't want it there to set it aside for later. Now, while I do enjoy this keyboard, I have been very clumsy on it, and I think that it's probably because I'm a chicken pecker when it comes to typing. I don't like to use the QWERTY style of typing. I can not look and chicken peck, but my problem is the G keys on the side throw me off, I think, and that makes it a little bit clumsy for me. But if you're not like me, you probably won't have that problem. Just a learning curve. It's been a minute since I've used one with G keys on the side. I think the last one was my Gamdius one from way back in the day. I had G keys on that one, and I felt like at that time I thought that one was a little clumsy to me too, but I got used to it. There is a volume scroll wheel on top, and if you hit the light or volume button, you can change it between changing your brightness of your lights up and down with the scroll wheel, or back to changing the volume on your computer with it, which is great. I actually really like this feature in keyboards, and when you have a volume scroll wheel, that's a big win to me. So the way that it works in USB wireless mode, and you get a long time on battery. I've been using it for about a week now, off and on, and I'm still on the same charge. I did plug it in today to explain or to demonstrate something, which I'll go over in a minute. But as far as wireless mode goes, it does a pretty good job. The keys do go auto sleep if you don't touch them long enough, much like a laptop's backlit keyboard might. That way it's preserving battery life, and you'll get a pretty decent amount of time out of them. Check here for the times. But if you did want to go wired mode, it is a 6-foot braided USB cable, and it's USB Type-C, so you can plug USB Type-C into the back to Type-A into the back of your computer. Now, this is necessary if you want to go in there and use the UI interface. You can't open the UI interface and interact with the keyboard with it via the Bluetooth USB dongle. And I know what most people really want to hear is, what do these keys sound like? So we'll pause here and you can take a quick listen to it. Now, as I mentioned, there is a UI suite, and there's 5 profiles that you can save to the keyboard. So if you move the keyboard from one computer to another, you should be able to save your lighting profiles and your macro profiles to that keyboard and take it with you. And at this point, we're actually going to pause the video and go over the lighting features. All of these can be manually addressed on the keyboard itself without going into the UI suite by using the function and insert delete key buttons, all those over there at the top. Each one contains about 3 of the different functions, and you can cycle through them. You have a lot more easier time accessing and changing these things if you use the UI suite though. Inside the UI suite, you can program macros, which is great if you're somebody that's more advanced and likes to do that kind of thing. Redragon does a pretty good job of not being overcomplicated and being fairly intuitive in how their software works. And I feel like they always have been. When I can get their software to work, it's always been a pretty easy experience. Anyways, guys, that's a quick overview of the K596. I hope you guys have a great day, night, or whatever it is, and I'll see you in the next video that I do. So this is a quick afterthought, and I almost forgot to mention it. The keyboard does say that it's waterproof on the back, but I am not going to take that chance. The reason being because there's no gasket around these switches and there's exposed PCB right below it, and those metal traces that go through the PCB are definitely conductive. Furthermore, on the bottom of the actual chassis of the keyboard, there's no drainage holes, so I don't know if this is a mistake that it's on there or not, but my basic logic tells me that any liquid that gets in there with no gaskets to seal it out like you might see in a membrane keyboard makes me feel like it's going to touch the exposed PCB and traces on there, causing problems for the keyboard. I don't recommend taking this into the bathtub with you.